Episode 4, Grobobalopacus. 2019. The whistle blew. Luni and Taylor stood in the gym circle facing each other. The rest of the class cheered them on as they both ran towards the only ball in the court. I can't let this girl beat me again, Luni thought. She reached out. Their hands met together around the dodgeball. Something about the girl's touch felt electric. She didn't know what it was, but she wanted more. They found themselves looking into each other's eyes, though for a brief moment, Luni wished it could last forever. They wrestled, rolling over the court, jabbing each other, fighting for control over the ball. Taylor, with a slap, ripped it out, and Luni stood up and backed away with her hands up, still looking into her gaze. Sneakers squeaked on the court floor. Luni tried to predict where her next throw would land. Taylor threw the ball so hard that the whistling sound echoed through the gym stage and into the courtyard. Luni ragdolled to avoid the hit, missing her head. She twisted and turned prone towards her opponent. "Boundaries eliminated. Someone get out so we can leave," the PE teacher shouted. Taylor ran mid-court towards the ball. With her mouth open, standing straight, panting, out of breath, Luni looked for what to do in the other girl's eyes. When she did this, an unexpected outcome occurred. What her eyes had told Luni to do, those round, beautiful eyes that seemed to gleam back at her, Luni picked up the dodgeball and tossed it straight into the air towards the girl. Taylor caught the snail-moving ball, but only long enough to drop it. It was obvious to everyone in the room. It was on purpose. The whistle blew. "Kids, that is the worst dodgeball I have ever seen in my life," the coach said. Taylor deliberately made her way and walked into Luni. "I don't need your stupid pity, Luni," Taylor said. She walked away. Luni turned to watch as Taylor walked into the locker room. "She knows my name?" Luni thought. "Who is that?" 5 years later, Luni and Taylor bursted into the spare room of Whisper's Bay's Not a Magic Tea Shop. Taylor knocked over the vases on the windowsill, spilling the dirt onto the floor. Luni followed close behind. 3 seeds glowed in the dirt. 2 of the white containers refused to break open. "Quick!" Taylor thrashed a vase on the floor, trying to break it free. "You planted these in a Bramanza trap." Luni grabbed the other and tried to break its bone-like structure. She smashed it against the floor and wall and brought it to the upstairs kitchen and threw it against the counter, but nothing would break it. Luni cursed. "The people at the arena wouldn't tell me anything." "Of course they wouldn't tell you anything. If you win, they lose money. These people don't believe that the Grobobalopacus can come back. They think Barry will always defeat it." "You keep saying Grobobalopacus like it's a real thing," Luni shouted. "It is a real thing. I have faced it before I met you in high school," Taylor said. The room went silent. "You lied to me about who you were the entire time." "I tried to tell you. You didn't listen," Taylor said. Taylor gathered the seeds. "These need to be placed on the altar by the seal. If there's still enough life in them, you might get them back so you can finish it." "What do you mean, finish it? I'm not playing Mortal Kombat." "You must face the Grobobalopacus, you idiot, to prevent it and the High Wizard of Snufferclyde from returning. Is Braylon in one of those seeds?" Luni shook her head. Taylor yelled an incomprehensible noise and paced. "Your," Taylor cursed, "up hasn't doomed us all. Thankfully, there's someone else who can help us. The only person who knows how to dismantle a bonanza trap is Mr. Fingerhopper. He works at the library as a... Why are you making that face at me, Luni? Luni lowered her head and looked away. You mean the nice doggo that walks too fast. How do you know about him being a morning werewolf? Taylor shouted. How do you already know all of the secrets of Whisper's Bay? You normals aren't supposed to know any of this. Is that all I am to you? A normal? Luni said. I put up with your mood swings and aggressive affection, and I'm like nothing to you. Still. Ding, ding, ding. Taylor rolled her eyes. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, grand prize. You guessed the right price or whatever. She let out a string of curse words. You're so good at reading people. Are you being sarcastic? I hate when you're... Why, no, I'm not being sarcastic, she said. Where is Mr. Fingerhopper? I left him at the library. Were you being sarcastic with me just then? Taylor checked the time on her phone. He should be off shift by now. He's gonna need a walk back if the lady who works there hasn't taken him back to his house. Let's go. They threw the seeds and vases in a box and ran downstairs. But they both stopped when a strange light reflected from under the counter. Luni let out a curse word at the sight she saw. Mr. Fingerhopper, the wolf, had been turned to gold. Taylor turned to Luni. Tell me, you didn't leave the rag of riches in the dog bed. Okay, Luni said, crossing her arms. I'm not going to tell you that, and hope that you figure it out on your own. Is that sarcasm? Mr. Whitker stumbled through the door. The top of his shirt was unbuttoned, and his hair was greasy. He yelled, frightening both of the women. They smelled on his breath that he had spent the morning at the bar. Where's my bartender? You were the last one to see Callie and Lizzie alive. Where are they? Luni swallowed hard. I don't know anything. You came into the bar yesterday. I don't know anything about the shop next door. Now you're running the place like you own it. That's sarcasm, Taylor said to Luni. And that magic of yours, he continued, is why 7 people are missing. You have something to do with this, and I'm gonna prove it. I've already called the cops. They'll be looking to talk to you as soon as I can talk to them into getting somebody over here. Okay, Mr. Whitker, it's time for you to go home, Taylor said, approaching him as if he were a wild animal on the loose. It's time for someone to tell the goddamn truth for once, especially you, Taylor. The light from the gold counter reflected in his eye. Mr. Whitker, Taylor said in a sad, exhausted tone as she moved slowly towards him. I've always tried to tell you. Always. I did everything I could. I miss Itis, Mr. Whitker. Mr. Whitker spit and spoke with his voice trembling. Don't you talk about her. You're one of those. You could have saved her life. I wanted to. So much. Sometimes people get sick. You weren't even there with her. I was. The tea shop clock struck 1. Birds flew from nowhere and cleaned the store. Mice and squirrels entered from the back room to scrub the floors and complain about the work as one might do. But more astunned, Mr. Whitker's mouth dropped. He did a double take at the 2 women, then back to the working animals. And after a few moments, all the animals had left except for one, and now with the mailbag, who limped past Mr. Whitker, looking like each step was a pain too intolerable to bear. Yet the creature kept walking, fighting for each step forward. Here you go, the owl said to Luni. A letter for you. Before she could reply, it had turned around and closed its eyes and walked back, holding in its grunts and pains as well as its tears to itself. "Come on, Königsberg," it said. 33 deliveries to make today." "Really?" Luni said. "This is the life I was good enough for? Well, darn, if only if I was one of those rich, crazy snobs who force animals to clean and deliver mail for some reason. All I needed for your love was to abuse animals, and yes, that's sarcasm. Like, why even? This is what you picked? Over me?" Mr. Whitker charged at Taylor. He shouted and screamed, completely unhinged like a man in pain. "You don't know what I've been through. Magic should have saved my daughter." He went at her again. Whack! Mr. Whitker fell to the ground hard, knocked out. Luni stood over him, holding the golden wolf statue, known as Mr. Fingerhopper. "Luni," Taylor said, "what are you doing? I didn't want anyone hurt." "I didn't hurt Mr. Fingerhopper," Luni shouted. "We gotta get out of here if the whatever gets out and starts killing people." "It's Grobobalopacus. Help me get Mr. Whitker into a bed," Taylor said. Luni put the statue of Mr. Fingerhopper next to the register on the counter and went to help lift Mr. Whitker. They dragged him to the secret flower room. They had considered placing him in the bed, but if he woke before they returned, it would spell disaster. Out of all the moments for it to happen, Luni received a text. She lifted the cell to her face with a look of sickness. The text from Kevin read, "I messed up. She didn't bother to read the rest. After putting the phone in her pocket, she lifted the box of vases and seeds and walked away to where Taylor's pickup truck was parked. Whispers Bay Arcadia Park sits on the opposite side of town from the beach access. It's a wooded area where the cherry blossoms thrive in the spring and the pines seem to reach up forever. The park sat unused for most of the year. It's a cool place to hang out during the summer, and a few of the town's excessive festivals are held there when there isn't a space elsewhere. It's the kind of so the tourists don't show up sort of place. Luni could only watch as Taylor drove the pickup truck over the parking spot, tearing into the fresh grass. Of course she's that kind of person, Luni thought. What did I ever see in her? Luni recognized her favorite tree, the main one at the park center, one she had only seen in pictures. Its trunk, towering 50 feet above them with blue-green needles branched reaching out towards the sky. The massive size, Luni realized, could not be captured in a photograph. The sight felt too incredible to feel real. Her heart sank, realizing she was supposed to have been married there the day before. Luni hung tight to the box of vases and seeds. She stepped onto the truck's side step. "Where do I take this?" she said, refocusing her attention. She expected to see an obvious altar or sign saying, "Place seeds here." Magic did not seem to work that way on the coast. Taylor stepped out and searched the park, examining every object her eye passed. Luni spotted a dog lying under a tree, looking ill. This tugged at her heart to see such a creature suffering, but she could not linger. She looked on. In the middle of the park, a tent sat propped with a stake driven into Luni's favorite tree. A man with round glasses and black hair emerged. He stood, looking stoic. "Come on, he'll know," Taylor said. "Who?" "Very Deicknine," she said in mid-stride. The sight of her seemed to trigger something in his soul, and even Luni, of all people, could see this. The man approached, looking tired, wearing a ruffled and dusty suit. He cleaned his round glasses as they approached. "I have been waiting an entire day," he said. "I work 80 hours a week for this council. You could at least show up when you're supposed to." This broke Luni. "I don't understand anything you crazy people do. How do I free these people? so I can get as far away from you nutcases as I can. A deep, poetic voice that echoed and seemed to stretch out far into the distance with an unnatural tone. You must follow your heart and put aside all your fears and inhibitions, especially if you, non-magic user, wish to be the one who this year sealed the Grobobalopacus in his place. Only the champion of Whispers Bay can defeat such an evil. Only you, whatever your name is, forgive me, someone told me, but I totally forgot. Luni sat the box down as her phone buzzed. It was Kevin. By the way the texts were written, missing letters and containing fragmented sentences, he was drunk. Again. You know what, she said. I've had enough of all this magic stuff. Tell me what to do in real words. I'm not here for a speech. No one speaks the Deicknine that way. You can't make demands of Barry. This is the most famous Whisper Bayan in town. The one who saved us all. We all owe it to him, if we like it or not. She rolled her eyes. I bet you are fantastic, Luni said. We got 7 people trapped in seeds and a Mr. Whitker knocked out in a not-a-magic tea shop, so, can we hurry it up? Barry scoffed. No wonder we gave Freyland a violation. I'll see that Mr. Whitker is taken care of. Go, champion. May luck find you on these grand trials of... Shut it already, Luni said. I'll do it myself. At this, Barry smiled. Well, I hope that you will be the first to survive the Grobobalopacus. Luni's face turned pale. Something inside her wanted to turn and run far enough away so that no one in the bay could reach her. She looked at Taylor. Another feeling came on, one that drove her to move her feet in search of the altar. Luni noticed bright red mushrooms growing from the base of the pine. Weeds with tiny orange flowers grew scattered throughout the park's center. She put her hands on her hips. Where would the altar be? Luni thought. What am I looking for? Why am I always looking for something? Excuse me, she heard a tiny voice cry. Konigsberg, the mail-carrying owl, approached from behind her, still limping in excruciating pain. Another letter, and a book. Ow. Ow. The creature walked to her. Luni knelt beside him, resisting the urge to cup the top of his head softly with her hands. You know, you shouldn't have to do this if you hurt. This kind of life is not fair to you. Oh no, this is what I gotta do in life. It could be worse. I'm not a cleaning bird. I'm thankful for that. A good day to you. The creature took a step, and Luni heard something in the owl's joint snap. He cried out in pain. I'm lucky to do what I do, he said in all seriousness. Luni realized she had not read the first letter either. She took it from her pocket and read it aloud. The answer is in the book, NBS. Then she read the second letter. Please read your mail so that the poor owl doesn't have to walk. NBS. NBS, Luni mouthed to herself. What is this? Barry asked her, drawing near. She ignored him and looked at the note. It was the same book the librarian had given her. She flipped through its pages. Taylor stepped in front of her so Barry couldn't see it. She turned to a page with a familiar tree drawn on it. The drawing had 7 holes outlined in red. She placed one seed in the tree's cavity. A root cracked through the seed and filled the space with a thick vine, a flower bloom with an orange globe appearing from its petals. Quickly, she placed the remaining souls in their places, all but the ones caught in the barmanza traps. She could see a person banging on the sides from inside the glass-like structure in the orbs, desperate to get out. Do you have a hammer? Luni said the tailor in a fit of panic. Nah, you can't get them out that way, Barry chuckled, looking at the flowery lanterns. Either help me out or shut the hell up, Luni said. Luni grabbed the metal toolbox and used it as a battering ram, striking the bone vase as hard as she could, but they would not budge. Never mind, you did, Taylor cursed. Us all. Luni clenched her teeth at hearing this. She struck the vase so hard that the tree reverberated a deep rumble that sent pine needles falling from above. The vase snapped in. Thorny vines sprouted from the hole, and a black flower bloomed, almost a tulip in appearance. Realizing what she had done, she did the same to the last seed with one decisive hit of the toolbox. Taylor stumbled back at the hideous sight of the flowers. I don't think those are supposed to look like that. Why is there a carrot in the toolbox? Luni asked, but Taylor disregarded her question. A red light glowed from within the center tree. The bark turned many colors as if splattered by an army of paintballs. Roots crawled, ripping the tent into shreds and forming a circle. A light flashed. Moths with skull-like wings swarmed the park, and the sun seemed to set way before its time. You have found it, Barry said, motioning with his hands to the root altar. You must face it. Alone. Are you coming or not, Taylor? Luni said, taking a step forward. I said, alone, Deicknine said. But Taylor joined Luni anyways, giving one last look to Barry before picking up the toolbox. They stepped into the circle together. The two women found themselves on a gravel path surrounded by warm, fiery rocks. The smell of suffering lingered in the air. At the end of the path, below the red sky, they saw a tall rock hut. Barry is going to be ticked, Taylor said. The people will not like it when they learn I'm with you. He doesn't like me as is. Luni shook her head. I don't like being with you either. You think? Taylor mocked. The whole town worships the toe crack of that guy. We have to do everything he does now because he defeated the High Wizard of Snufferclyde. It's all, she cursed, to me. What is a Snufferclyde? Luni asked. It's some wizard's fortress. It's a place hidden somewhere off the harbor. Come on, let's beat this Grobobalopacus. They drew closer to the flimsy hut, held together by mud and tiny stones. Taylor set the toolbox on the ground and drew the carrot. What is with the vegetable thing? Luni asked. It's how we cast spells, Taylor said. So you are one of them. No, I'm vegan, she deadpanned. That's not important. Admit it, Luni said. It's complicated. A loud groan came from inside the hut, a sound so terrible that stones fell onto the ground. A voice cried out. It's that time of year again. Oh, dear me. Hold on, I'm coming. From inside, an indescribable creature emerged, looking like it had escaped the depths of hell. It had many mouths and rotting teeth, with claws and nails stretching far out from its 20-some-odd fingers. The stench of the creature waffled in the air as it moved, but around it, flowers sprouted with each step the creature took. All right, let's get this over with, it said. Luni looked at Taylor. I'm sorry, you're the Grobobalopacus? Thank you for using my name, the creature said, coming to face Luni. Most people call me bad names I don't want to repeat. How would you like to beat me? Should I lay down, or do you want to pretend to fight me, or... wait. Luni stepped back. I thought to free the people in the 7 seas we had to defeat you. The creature looked concerned. There's people trapped in seeds. How awful. I hope you can get them out before some idiot tries to plant them. Luni coughed. Creature is lying. Taylor said, holding out an arm. Don't trust it. It killed my parents. You have to be the one that kills it, Luni. The creature scratched its head with its weapon-like claws. Lying. I don't like hurting people. You monkey-looking critters are always the ones coming here, proclaiming you're the champion of which or another. I don't even know what's going on. They want me to submit and be willing to give up my soul. I refuse. I love life too much. I want to watch every flower grow and die and sprout again, if it's that kind of plant. Do what you want with me. I choose life. After a moment, the creature sighed. I hate this Deicknine experiment. Hurry up, so I can start healing and get ready for next year. Taylor seemed more confused. We were told if you escaped the seal, you would destroy the magic world and the universe. Who? It asked. You don't mean the nice high wizard with all the cats who brought me the flowers. Last time I checked, I couldn't bring anyone back from the dead, though. One moment, please, Luni said to the Grobobalopacus and pulled Taylor to the side. Look, this might seem really obvious now, but is it possible that Deicknine is gaming with us? 'Cause I don't think his judge of character is as good as he thinks it is. The creature waited, smiling, enjoying the pleasant company for a change. You have to beat it now, Luni, Taylor said. Barry is a liar, but it's trying to trick us. That thing has the souls of 20 people inside of it. 2 that used to be my parents. It's an abomination and should not exist. Defeat it. Luni picked up a rock. Her arm swung back, preparing to thrust it at the creature. But she stopped. The creature had taken a step back and flinched. Something about how it held itself bothered her. She knew the look. She dropped the rock. Pick it back up, Taylor yelled. We can't let it free. It's the one time of year it can escape in. No, Luni said. I'm not going to hurt it. The creature's sad eyes turned to her. Seriously, it asked. You aren't going to bully me? No, she said. Taylor's eyes shifted with years of pain and anger. If you're on its side, then you're not on mine. Okay, Anakin, Luni mocked before pausing and saying in an almost whisper, Trust me. Like the time you got us caught in the teacher's lounge, Taylor said. Taylor looked hard at the creature. Something about this whole thing seemed wrong. Before the two could agree on the facts, someone came walking up the path with the radish drawn. Enough, vermin, Barry cried. He pointed the wand at Taylor. No one will be escaping here but me. Drop the carrot. Taylor did as she was asked and stuck up her hands. Is this creature innocent? If so, whose fault is it? That is a pickle that is too sour for you to taste, Barry said. It is the only way to break the bond. It's the only way to protect Whisper Bay from the Oathbreakers. I am only righting a wrong done to me. You monster. The creature sighed. I'm sorry. I can't help the way I look. Not you, Taylor said. Luni picked up the carrot. Deicknine laughed. She knew that she had tried it before, but she had to try something if she wanted to make it out alive. The wand is useless to you. You are not one of us, Whitlock. Barry bit his lip and cast a blazing fireball towards Luni. Taylor grabbed the carrot and yelled something sounding ridiculous, creating an icy shield around her. Some of the fireball broke through, leaving patches of her pants incinerated. Floweropacus! Barry shouted, turning to Taylor. Vines sprouted from the rocks, trapping her vegetable wand and arm. Luni flung as many rocks as she could at him, but he waved the attack off with the spell of the radish. Taylor struggled to free herself of the vine, but the spell proved to be too strong. The creature ran to hide behind the rock, looking on helpless in a panic. In one last ditch to save both of their lives, Luni picked up the wand. She pointed it at Barry, knowing nothing would happen, but hoping deep down that by some miracle something would work. "Blabbergiliocious," Luni shouted. Nothing happened. Until the creature snapped its fingers with a deafening sound. A flower sprouted on the carrot wand. Seeing this, Luni shouted the spell again, and a beam shot towards the man. The spell knocked Barry back 10 yards, ripping the back of his suit jacket. "How?" Barry cried. The Grobobalopacus peeked its head out from around its safe hut. "I fixed your weapon. I added power to it so even a useless person could use it. Did I do a good job?" "Yes, you did," Luni said. "Blabbergiliocious." Another beam shot out from the carrot at Barry. She kept repeating the word over and over until Barry no longer moved. She stood over him. The man, black and blue and one eye swelled shut, tried to lift his hand towards his radish, but he could not. Barry laughed through his injuries. "You can kill me now. You can bring back Rovana, the High Wizard. But I can come back from eternity. You cannot stop this curse. Taylor knows this better than anybody else. Don't you, Taylor?" "Shut up, Deicknine," Taylor said. Luni passed the wand to Taylor. She shook her head. Instead, she picked up his radish. She cursed at him. A fireball erupted from the end of the radish. She kept cursing over and over until nothing remained of the man known as Barry. "Luni, we are so..." Taylor cursed. She was right. "He's finally dead. I don't have to suffer anymore," the creature said, looking confused. "Do we still need to play checkers? I'll let you win if you'd like." "No thanks, Grobobalopacus." "Do you want to get out of here?" Luni asked. The creature cried tears of joy. "Yes, I can get us all out of here." "Luni," Taylor asked, "is this a good idea? The council are going to freak out if they see him. What if you don't have much of a choice? Even if Grobobalopacus was the most evil thing on the planet." "That might be the best for us," Taylor said with a frown. "Everyone thinks he's a murderer." Grobobalopacus heard this and cried, "I try so hard to be nice to everyone." No, it's okay. You're coming with us. I'm sorry," Taylor said. "Let's go. It's okay." She began to walk, but paused. "When they find out that Barry is dead and the High Wizard has returned, everyone is going to come for us. We need to get out of Whisper's Bay as soon as possible." The three emerged from where the root circle had been formed. The creature stuck out its neck into the fresh air and cried even more tears of joy. Luni and Taylor were relieved to see all 7 people lying on the ground, breathing. Their eyes were not open, as if they were in some sort of deep sleep. From nearby, a woman called, "Fido." She called the name several times before the sick dog from under the tree moaned. The Grobobalopacus stopped and turned towards the noise. It walked over. "You poor furry creature," it said. "You got a lump of sickness in you." "Grobobalopacus, we can't stay. You can't be seen or..." A few things happened before Luni could finish her sentence. The woman appeared, walking in sight at the dog. She saw Grobobalopacus open up one of its jaws wide and swallow the dog whole. The lady screamed. She ran towards the creature and hit Grobobalopacus. It seemed too focused to notice her. Luni and Taylor watched the fight in a state of shock and disbelief until Grobobalopacus spit out the dog on the ground. The wet dog wagged its tail and ran to its owner, running in a circle full of life and energy, barking. The woman took a few steps back as the creature coughed. With another of its mouth, it spit out a small clump of tissue. "There you go, furry thing," he said. "All better now." The woman had not seen the dog walk, much less run, in weeks. Although speechless, she tried to find words to thank the creature. The woman was so thankful that she helped load the 7 people into Taylor's truck. She did not question why they all seemed to be sleeping or why such a weird thing like Grobobalopacus even existed. She looked to Luni to be happy to have a healthy dog again. Taylor, though, seemed troubled, helpless even. She stood, crossing her arms, with her gaze just staring out blankly. They left the magically crafted sin against nature, or Grobobalopacus, in the flower room. It cried so hard at seeing all the flowers, it asked to be left there permanently, just like Luni had wanted. So they left them in the magic room, and the 2 women soon after stood at the counter downstairs in the shop, looking at where the door used to be, deep in thought. "What does NBS mean?" Luni asked. "Not Berry Society." Taylor tried to hide a chuckle. "The group who supports the High Wizard over Barry. When the town learns what we know, this is gonna get even worse." "What if this creature could have saved Mr. Whitker's daughter?" Luni asked. Taylor winced and turned away. The thought hit them hard. But then they exclaimed together, "Mr. Whitker and Mr. Fingerhopper." Taylor lowered her head. "Mr. Whitker knows everything now. He's going to tell the whole town." "We can't do anything to stop him," Luni said. "If the elders learned we killed Barry and the normals know their secrets, they are going to do worse things to us than we did to him." "We won't let him," Luni said, looking away. "Help me figure out how to get Mr. Fingerhopper back to being a dog so we can turn him back into being a person so we can get him back at his job at the library." Luni turned to where she had placed the gold wolf statue on the counter. It was not there. Instead, a note sat where the dog had been. It read, "If you want the statue back, we can arrange a deal. I want my daughter back alive. I don't care what evil magic you use. You know where to find me. If you refuse, the entire town is coming for you. With love, Mr. Whitker." "Great," Luni said. "How did he get out of here?" They both heard a fragile voice from a creature walking towards them. Königsberg, now unable to hide his pain in each step he took, held out a letter. "I forgot the second coupon from the market," he said, almost in tears. "The other guy I helped out of here took the first one. I wrote a theft report, but I wouldn't stay up waiting for a call. Here you go." Luni and Taylor looked at each other. "Hey, Königsberg," Luni said. The owl nodded. "I'm not letting you out of the shop. This is sad." "But," Königsberg said, "who will deliver the mail? If it wasn't for me, no one would get their letters and packages." "There's a thing called the internet now, and Amazon," Luni said. "It's time some of these magic people get with the times so animals don't have to suffer. You don't have to carry mail anymore." Königsberg, to both of their surprise, wept tears of happiness. Luni opened the secret door for the owl that joined Grobobalopacus in the lake garden. After doing so, she turned to Taylor. "Let's find a way to wake these people so I can get out of here." Somebody knocked on the door frame of the shop entrance. A woman stood with a purple underbust and a round hat. "Where is Barry?" she asked, her words sharp. The woman looked around before revealing an asparagus. She tapped on the frame, creating a new set of glass double doors. "Answer me, Kimama. Where is Deicknine?"